So just to give context to the 40 viewers here.
Yeah.
The debate is between aura versus charisma. So you think that Donald Trump has no aura, but max charisma.
Yeah.
You think Kanye has no aura, but max charisma.
Yeah. I think Kanye started with a little bit more aura, lost it over time, maxed out on charisma.
But then you think LeBron has aura.
I think LeBron has less charisma. I think he has charisma still, but I think he has more aura than charisma.
And you think Jesus has aura.
Deep aura.
Okay. So my disagreement with you on what charisma is and why I don't think you can necessarily separate them like until they mean two different things entirely is there's two books that I've read on it. Charisma Myth and Compelling People. And in Compelling People just has two aspects that make something charisma, but Charisma Myth has three, so we can go with there. So there's presence is like the overarching aspect of it, and then you have a balance between authority and I forget what the third one is, but it's like pretty much it's like this balance of three, and they're all different types of charisma, right? So if you look at Steve Jobs, he has charisma, but it's in a different realm because he's like more of a visionary charisma versus Marilyn Monroe's charisma versus like someone else's charisma. But like the overarching, and this is the thing that's missing in the Compelling People book, is the presence aspect, which I would think that you're considering is aura, which is like this like weird peace kind of thing emanating. And
One of the aspects, yeah.
but then yeah, I think it's like authority and love, or authority and like warmth. Authority and warmth are the two things. So it's like if you balance, like you can be like it's all charisma, but they're all just like different levels of each thing. So warmth, presence, and authority. Presence.
But all under charisma.
It's all under charisma, and so then it's like when you're in a room with someone charismatic and you are talking to them, you form a thing called a charisma bubble, which I think is like an aspect of Philosophy Club where we're coming together and like you feel that special thing in the room sometimes. That's like a charisma bubble. But yeah, and it's like technically aura, but it's like this bubble that gets formed, and that's kind of what
I could see that model. Mine just differs a little bit. I feel like I don't think they're separate, but I think they're linked. I see it as like in science you have like electromagnetism. It's the same force but different. Like one is more internal, one is more external. Positive, negative, like on a magnet, it's the same magnet, right? But one side is polarized to positive and the other side is. So I see it as like charisma being the external expression, right? Charisma is about like connectivity. It's about frame, like the ability to kind of like change people's perceptions, right? Whereas aura is internal. This is like your ability to change, to kind of like be grounded in your own perspective. I think people are more likely to feel charisma, and I think aura is kind of like, detected in a certain way. It's like
this is pretty much the exact thing. It's like your version of aura is just the presence level, and then the charisma is the authority and warmth level at different levels, which is why the Compelling People book, they don't even consider that presence as a part of charisma, because they probably would say that's aura as well.
Well, the reason I kind of like do this positive negative thing is because you can find examples of people who have charisma but no aura, right? Meaning they have this external ability to kind of like make friends and influence people, but they don't have this depth to them. And so that person would be very electric. That person would be like, Donald Trump would be an example of that, right? You see him on, like, he's like, hate him or love him, that guy has the ability to compel people or change people's perceptions, or like, have things wick off he's Teflon Don, right? And I think your level of charisma, same thing with Kanye West, your level of charisma is like your ability to kind of make friends and influence people outside. Whereas aura to me is more of a, like when someone says that dude has aura or that girl has aura, it's like it's a recognition of something internal. It's this like deep grounding and like their own perspective, where if you talk to somebody who, like, I think people like Buddha have aura. It's a magnetic force. People like Jesus. These are
But
people
then
who
how do you have, like, say you're aura farming though, like not every, like, is aura doesn't necessarily need to be only positive, right?
Same with charisma.
Yeah, no, but like no one would consider like charisma. There's like the danger of a charismatic leader, right? So like a lot of bad stuff happens due to charismatic leaders, but like the vibe of an aura person, it seems like, you know, Jesus has aura, Buddha has aura.
Yeah.
What about negative aura?
I'm wondering, is there a negative aura? Because aura itself is a magnetic force. So it, like, when people talk to Jesus, they might not like him, they might not have heard good things about him, but after they meet him and like have a conversation, something switches. We're like, whoa, this guy is the truth, and then they want to follow him. Same thing with Buddha. Like Buddha would just be doing his own thing, and because of experiences, because of his depth, people would have a conversation with him, and they'd be like, whoa, there's a magnetic depth there that I'm attracted to. Whereas I think charisma is more like Kanye West. Like, you're gonna listen to me. I'm gonna be in your face. I'm gonna be out here. Right? Same thing with Donald Trump. Like, you know, this outward expression and like going out there. Whereas an aura person is just like in their own thing. And I'm wondering, like, can there be a negative expression of that? Maybe like a serial killer, right? I think serial killers actually have pretty strong aura, where people are like strangely attracted to them.
Yeah.
Right? And they'll call them charismatic. But the energy in itself, like, I think when you're talking to a serial killer, and you're like something like Mindhunter, that is less. When I see that, I'm like, that's less about like they'll.
Who's Mindhunter?
Mindhunter is a show about getting to the mind of serial killers, right? And you see them talk to these serial killers, and it's like, whoa! It's like there's a darkness that's intriguing there. That's why people are interested.
But so this is the thing though, like, so number one, Ted Bundy. I read a story about some girl went on a date with him, and like she went to the bathroom, and he went to the bathroom and came back, and like the vibe was completely off, and it was pretty much like it turned into like this predator prey type of thing.
That's the thing about
And so she
aura.
got weirded out, and she was like, I'm outie.
Because aura is magnetic. It's like, and something like being a predator, being like aggressive, is inherently like violent, which is like, it's hard to have that attractive energy when the thing is trying to, unless you're like a black hole, unless like you're this force that draws people in to annihilate them, right? It's
which is a weird, like, it comes down to like the law of importance. Like, so there's this Felix Dennis, the business guy. He has this chapter in his book about negotiation, where he's talking about how pretty much like when he goes in, he considers himself like a greedy flea. You know, a greedy flea, and he's like, I'm the greedy flea, and I'm fighting with the elephants, or not even, I'm negotiating with the elephants, and I'm a greedy flea. But when he's talking to them, he's like, all right, like they offered me $2 million for my business, and he was like, it'll be $3 million, and he pretty much like just says this outrageous thing, but he's like, the flea had to empty his mind and truly believe that he did not care about the $2 million, and it's just like, it's this weird like trickery type thing in terms of like black hole. It's like you have to let go of the importance of it so that you can, like, even if you know you haven't let go of the importance of it, it's like, can I temporarily trick myself to feel that I don't care?
Which is why I think it's hard for like negatively aligned people to have a lot of aura, is because that negativity, that like perception, it's like a false humility. It's like a false humility that'll like kind of like is very hard to. I don't know. Like when I see people like Buddha and Jesus, right? They are, that humility is part of their aura, right? The Buddha was a prince. He, came down, and that like those experiences gave him a certain depth to when people spoke to him. They felt that depth, right? And I think, I think that greedy flea example, I'm not 100% sure, but it's like, it's a self, not a humiliation, but like that humbling to be like, I don't care. It's like, it's truly like actually not integral to who I think I am to have this $2 million. I don't see that in people who are, on the other side of the polarity. And I'm not saying you can't have both, but like if you give the example of Jesus and Kanye, their money and their material means are integral to their sense of self, right?
Jesus?
No, Kanye and Donald.
Okay.
Right. Because of that, right? It's like, I think that gives them that takes away aura, because I think aura is soul. It's like the perception of soul. It's like, if you take away everything from me, I have so much within me that it doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? And I think people detect that when they're speaking to someone with aura. Like, it doesn't matter if this person is homeless. It doesn't matter if this person has $0. This person is not empty. This person's full, right?
Which just kind of comes down to presence, really. Because, like, if you're not telling weird stories to yourself, like, oh, I'm broke now, life is over, da-da-da, then you're just present to it, whatever, you know, it's constant acceptance of every moment, then you're chilling. So that's aura.
It's like the Tao. Whereas I think the opposite side of it, and I'm not saying it to say that they're incompatible, but developing charisma is mostly about your relationship to others.
But so say, for example, though, like, I think it does have an aspect of love, and there's like one of these charisma. Okay. So I forget what the guy's name is, Paul something. He's like a big Silicon Valley guy. He has this thing about charisma. He's like, the best way to be charismatic is to love other people. Like if you're pretending, you're not going to be charismatic. But if you're actually interested in other people, you will be more charismatic. So I don't know. I feel like charisma is not like.
I think they're not. That's why I give the electromagnetic model, because electromagnetism, like the best way to create the best way we have right now to create like electricity is with magnets. You take a magnet, you spin it around a coil, right, and you create electricity. Like electricity and magnetism are like intricately linked, right? So I'm not like, when you have really deep aura, it manifests a lot of the times as really genuine charisma, right? And that it's because you have that sense of self and that sense of self-love, it manifests in seeing yourself in others and seeing the depth of others. And that's why they feel that magnitude, because they're like, oh, this person actually sees me. This person actually sees into me and accepts me, right? Because in order for you to have that aura, you have to accept yourself. And once you accept yourself, you start to accept other people. Whereas I think if you manifest charisma without aura, right, it comes from a place of lacking, from a place of like, I don't have the right clothes, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough status. And so you start looking for people to provide, you know, that fulfillment within, and you're essentially trying to take other people's, you're trying to take from other people. Right?
Yeah, which I don't think is charisma.
Well, this is the thing.
So I don't even think that manifests as charisma.
Initially, this is the thing. Initially, it doesn't. It actually manifests as people hating you, right? But we
call it negative aura.
Exactly. But that negative aura, there's a weird switch that happens where it's like they almost make a compromise. They're like, in order for me to get what I want, which is to be rich, which is to have status, which is for me to feel like I'm enough, I need to make some compromises. I need to be funny. I need to be talented. I need to, you know, have power in certain ways, right? And so they develop the bare minimum of aura, right? Which, okay, funny, that means I have to have a certain sense of self-perception, right? Self-awareness, right? And so, okay, like, I know who Kanye is. Like, that thing about, like, I miss the old Kanye, there's a sense of self-awareness there, right? And Kanye's always had this, like, sense of self-awareness that makes him, and the story you were talking about with Iggy Azalea, you see that smile right there is because he sees himself. It's like, I can see myself in him, right? And that is aura. That little bit of like self-perception is aura, because you recognize a part of yourself. And so they do the bare minimum of aura to get the charisma, but it's all, the intention behind it is to fill this slack. I need more money, I need more status, I need this, I need that, I need that. And that void of like, I don't have it, right, I think is what manifests as like the negative. Like, it's almost because you don't have the full thing, you have to up the funny, up the power, up the status, right? Because these are the parts that you compromised in order to get what you need, which is...
Yeah, I guess I just don't think that, I don't think charisma necessarily needs to be, I think desire is like negative aura. Right? Desire, negative aura. So it's like, I'm not enough as this, I'm not, it's like, so pretty much like aura and charisma. Yeah, I just consider them the same thing.
That's why like the nonchalant meme is such a thing. Like if you're nonchalant, what does that mean? You have no desires.
Yeah.
It's aura.
But
nonchalant is
aura. But then like you have an aspect that's like the James Bond thing too, right? Because people are like, I'm trying to be like James Bond. I'm trying to be cool.
Aura.
But then because you're like consciously trying to be cool, you have sense of self, and then it doesn't. It manifests as
a
negative
lack
aura.
of sense of self.
Yeah. No, because then you have like an identity you're trying to protect. So if you're like, I'm trying to look cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look cool. I don't want to do this thing because I'll be embarrassed. You're not willing to laugh at yourself. You take yourself too seriously. That's like too much identity, which manifests as negative aura.
Yeah.
So then you can be silly, but then silly can manifest as aura.
I think children have the most aura and the most, like, young, cute children who are sociable have max aura, max charisma. Everyone looks at a kid's like, I instantly like them because they accept themselves fully.
Yeah.
Right, and then they also, when they also are able to go out and open up sets like crazy. Right, they just start talking, and it's like, oh hey little, and it's like, hi, what? And they're curious, so they're actually pouring into your perception, and so it's like max charisma.
That was I went with my nephew to go see a river, and we were just like at the river jumping around on tree branches, and then like some woman came with her little 3-year-old kid or something, and then my nephew like ran up like, hey, what are you doing over here? Like, what do you like? I was just like started asking questions like, damn, like this guy.
Like opening up sets, easy, like just hi, no desire at all, except to just have a situation.
Yeah, what's going on with these guys? Kind of like a dog, right? Like here at the office, I'll bring my dog, and she just like runs up to people like looking for food, of course, and it weirds people out. But she's like, no, I'm trying to see what's going on here. Like, she's not aware that people are busy or anything like that, right?
But now, if you have a dog that's looking for food but needs food, that's scary.
Yeah.
Right. So it's that sense of like, it's like I want it.
It's abundance. You need abundance.
Yeah. It's like I could use some food, but like I don't need it. But if you need it, it's like that. You're starving. This brother's starving, right? That's scary. That's a scary person to be around. If you're starving for attention, if you're starving for money, if you're starving for status, that is negative aura, right? And you can have, now if you combine that with like charisma, so there's parts that you're not starving. I don't think Kanye's starving for, like, by the way, we were talking about this situation where Kanye was, Iggy Azalea exposed Kanye for some wild situations, and he just owned it and accepted it. And I was saying that's an example of like, that's charisma, because it's self-acknowledgement. It's like, yeah, that's who I am, right? And I think if you have a little bit of that self-acknowledgement, but you're starving in other parts, that's a dangerous combination if channeled incorrectly. Because it's like you can use that self-awareness and that charisma to get to kind of like socially lubricate you, but you're still a starving dog. Right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, all right, I can fake it for a little bit, but you can't long term. So I think he's got aura. I think Kanye has aura. And I guess
I think he does.
One of the things about
deep aura
Trump is that in the Elon book, they're talking about like Elon's feelings of Trump, and so this is before Doge. This is before anything. They were actually buddies. So he's like, yeah, I met him a couple times, and it's like, there's nothing to him.
Who said that?
Elon.
Said that about Trump?
Yeah. So pretty much, it's like he only thinks, and I've heard this. So like, pretty much, he's very present to the moment, but his deepness only goes to marketing and publicity. Like he doesn't have any other thoughts other than like, oh, this will be a lot of articles will be written about this, like, and that's like all he thinks about, and everything is like going through like this like prism of publicity,
Yeah.
and like there's no thoughts beyond more publicity.
Right.
It's like this like instinctive creature that can only think about what will get headlines.
Mhm.
It's like kind of like a weird need of attention.
It's like status gluttony.
Yeah, and that's like the only thing. It's like a very non, like in a sense of, it's like not a well-versed individual. Like it
Mhm.
only thinks, it's like a creature organism that only thinks about one thing. It's like
Mhm.
very narrow,
Shallow.
the window that it can peer through, which is interesting.
The word is vapid.
Vapid.
Yeah.
But then now like Elon, all about Trump. So I don't know what happened there.
I think, you know what happened? I think I know what happened. It was the assassination attempt.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing happened with Kanye. When Kanye got in the car crash, I think that added so much aura, right? Because I think we all kind of instinctively recognize when somebody goes through something like that, there's some
Mhm.
kind of internal transformation and depth and exploration of like the self that happens, or that, you know, hopefully happens, that people are drawn to that, to be like,
Mhm.
what was that like? What was that experience? To
Mhm.
see like, okay, you've looked inside and you've been to a situation that has forced you to look inside. What did you see? All right. And I think that provides a lot of aura in this, and I think that's why Kanye has the aura that he has. Starting his career with the car crash,
Mm-hmm.
that is, you know, that is like, I don't know if you can have more aura than the song Through the Wire, right? He's in the hospital bed, his jaws are wired shut, so he talks like this,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, I'm gonna produce a song and I'm gonna rap on it,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't care if I can't speak right now. I have so much depth, I have so much within me that has to come out, that I'm going to, you know, I'm gonna
Yeah.
bring it out even though my mouth is wired shut.
That's like a Nikola Tesla thing, by the way, as well. So it's like when he had his inventions, he said that like they came fully formed, and then
Mhm.
he just like, it's this thing in the creative act. Rick Rubin talks about when an idea is ready, it will manifest itself into the world.
Mhm.
And actually, strangely enough, I got many text messages in the last couple days about this like God's plan type of thing. Like just various people messaged me simultaneously out of nowhere, which me speaking it right now could potentially be it manifesting itself, right? And like Rick Rubin says, like this idea will be ready. The universe is ready to produce this idea, and it will give it to a messenger. And then if that messenger doesn't do anything with it, it'll go to a different messenger.
Mhm.
And so then like the whole goal is you want
I
to
had
be
like 5 of those.
the goal is you want to be like a good messenger for
A channel,
yeah, a good channel. And in that Kanye documentary, Pharrell is talking to him once he hears Through the Wire. He's like, man, like because you have this thing, like you want to keep that path clear between you get an idea and you put it down as it comes out, and it's like this weird authenticity type of approach.
That it's an image of like an Amazon fulfillment center came to my mind. It's like you have this package, you need to keep the packages going. If they're stopped,
Yeah.
if they're clogged, you know, then it's gonna find another fulfillment route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why when I have dreams, like even last night I had like a dream that wasn't even too big of a dream.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like I know that idea. Like I have like a little notepad on my phone. It's like I wake up in the middle of the night. It's like I want to keep getting cool messages in my dreams. So I like scroll down and then just like type in whatever it is that I learned,
Mhm.
and I go back to sleep. You know, but
Mhm.
it's like as much as I don't want to, every time I'm like, no, I don't. You know, I'll remember it in the morning. I know I won't. So it's like,
Mhm.
all right, get up, write about the dream
Yeah.
right now. Yeah, and they get annoying too when they're like very complex dreams, like on a cruise ship, like the one I told you about, like just jumping into the water and figuring out like the give and take of every, you know, and just like trying to put that into words while I'm half asleep and trying
Mhm.
also not to wake up too much because I want to go back to bed.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, I gotta, that's my duty. And that's actually in Islam. Apparently when the Prophet Muhammad died, he took with him all the methods of prophecy,
Damn.
except for dreaming. So like in Islam, you're allowed to, like, that counts as, because it's haram to go see psychics in Islam. You're not allowed to, because they're gypsies and things like that is what they say. And it's like they can see stuff and they won't give you the full story. So it's not a true way of using prophecy.
Fair.
But you're allowed to dream. And dreaming is like a way of prophecy that's still allowed in Islam. And yeah, I think I get a lot of cool messages and dreams, and I want to keep getting them. So
I get the same thing. I think my problem right now is processing that, like the Amazon processing. Yeah, I have all of these things that are kind of like backed up, and then when I do wake up, I'm like spending my time on like the most menial part of that like dream, and so I'm working on a dream from like 3 weeks ago.
You gotta get something like Dahlia. Like she's like, you just gotta write.
No, I write them down. I capture them.
Oh.
A couple of years ago, I built an app that I think I need to rebuild now, but like same problem. I didn't want to like wake up and write and turn on the light because I can't write in the dark. But then, so I built an Alexa app that you just speak your dream out and it records it.
You need one of these Ixion devices.
Yeah.
You know, Leto can like, he just thinks and that's how he writes like the stolen journals.
Oh, yeah, I'm good. That sounds like if that gets into the wrong hands.
Yeah, but it's like, all right, here's a process of my thoughts. It sounds cool, which is illegal according to the Butlerian.
Yeah.
But
No, I would probably, like, I'm at the point where there's all these like dreams in the backlog, but you know, I should be operating at here. Okay, like Elon, how many companies does that dude run? Does he run them? Let's be honest. No. Every time he like comes to a press release, the engineers are like talking about like, they're like, hi, I'm an engineer of this, I'm an engineer of this. And Elon sits down and he's like, hi, I'm just I own the company. Right? I'm the visionary. Right? And I think if you kind of get stuck at the implementation stage, you are a poor channel for those visions because they don't flow as easy.
Yeah, because it takes time.
It takes too much time. And so it's like the challenge is to go up that creatorship ladder from implementation to coordination, which is where you're managing people who are implementing, to communication, where you're giving.
It's like projector versus generator, right?
Kind of. This guy talks about this this channel of like creation. I call it the creationship pyramid. I forget his name. We'll put it in there. But I call it the creationship pyramid, right? So at the very bottom you have implementation, which is like actually doing the work to do the thing. Then you have coordination, which is like managing the people who do the thing. Then you have communication, which is articulating what needs to be done. And then you have imagination, which is receiving the message and giving it to the communicator.
No, is it like this or like this?
It's like this. So that's
Disagree,
why you.
I think it's like this.
Well, that's why you have the
gotta
eye.
be like this because the imagination got to be is like the most important part.
Well, think about it this way. It's not necessarily about importance. It's more about like how many pieces are involved. At the implementation layer, there's so much to be done that it has to be wide, right? And that's why it takes so much time. You actually need more implements to kind of get it done. And so at the imagination layer, that's why you have like the pyramid with the eye, right? This is the ability to like see and connect to the higher transcendent power that's actually giving you these things, right? And so that's why it's like that's why it's a pyramid, right? Because it's channeling down from above, right?
It's like this for me still, funnel pyramid.
It's a funnel.
Because it's like, yeah, it's like here's the main, like you need a wide area for like the thing to go, and then it channels to become more solid, more of an actual real foundation.
No, I agree with that. I think above the pyramid you have an inverted pyramid.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's a little, you know? Yeah, I think you have this inverted pyramid at the top that, like you're saying, that's like these
is
are
esoteric, and then this is like
exoteric.
the material.
Yes.
Right.
And so that's how it comes down into earth. And but for the conversation, I think I'm getting stuck too much at implementation. Right. This right now is communication. which is like 2 rungs up. It's like that's better work than what I would have been doing, which is implementation.
Yeah.
This is a lot more leverage. It's a lot more high bandwidth. It reaches more people. It's more leverage than doing the things that feel like work. But I think that emotional fixation is like it's I think it's number one. I think it's ingrained purposefully to keep us at the implementation layer. I don't think they want you to be at the imagination layer because they want to, because it looks like a pyramid. So they're like, oh, well, it's a smaller group of people at this level, right? And so I think the system pushes you into the implementation layer, but I think you're rewarded with spiritual density and like, you know, the spiritual gifts, aura, right? I think aura actually is at the bottom. I think, you know, the structure that they found under the pyramid. I think that's what aura is. I think that's the thing that is like the base of the lightning rod, the grounding, penetrating thing that actually creates the dynamic between the sky and the earth. I know that sounds a little esoteric, but if you have a lightning rod and you want it to strike the earth, you dig down into the earth and then you go really high. And that, as it goes up into the ionosphere, that differentiation between the negative and the positive actually collects ions and filters it down into that part of the ground, right? So I think the aura is the depth into the ground, right? The depth of experiences, the depth of connection to self, right? And I think as you increase your ability to, you know, channel, which is like communication and imagination, right? That depth actually gets activated, right? Because if you have the depth, but your pyramid's this tall, you're not getting a lot of lightning. You're not getting a lot of energy.
Which is the Carl Jung quote about, like, in order to reach heaven, for a tree to reach heaven, its roots have to extend to hell.
Exactly.
As above, so below.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between aura.
Yeah, aura's
And
below, charisma is above.
Okay.
Or not even above. I would think it's
Is it
more.
the same thing?
Yeah, I think it's like
Same thing.
in and out. Yeah.
So that's we'll end it here.
Yeah.
But that's a
The next
that's
step,
that's a run through on how to aura farm.
Yeah. Go have experiences. Go have specific.
Get that
knowledge.
depth.
Get the
Depth. Know thyself.
Yeah.
Presence. Always presence. And then go attend Practical Philosophy Club.
Yeah.
Find one near you.
And go create some stuff. Act on your dreams.
Build practicalphilosophy.club.
Is that a real thing?
That's my website. Our website.
Build
What's that?
practicalphilosophy.com.
No, just practicalphilosophy.club.
Okay. We'll put it up.
That's our website.